Andrea Narno, and my print project is called Narno. We are inside my shirt studio, which is called Lavender Estero. Estero is that brackish water where the ocean meets sweet water, and where life happens. So here's where the prints happen. I share this space with my partner and collaborator Vanessa Adams and my really good friend and also collaborator Mary Tremonte. Vanessa and I have this combination press. We have space for silk screen, risograph, and so far we haven't been haunted. We are in what was a funeral home in the north side of Pittsburgh, PA, and we moved here recently, so we are really excited to be able to work here and have like a space where we can continue working during the pandemic, which has been a true blessing. We also share the studio with this cat, and sometimes when I'm printing I get to have cat TV live. You see it?
Yeah. It was out in the road and then it ran under there. Where's the other one?
I started making prints when I was maybe like 17. I was studying philosophy, which is great but not my jam, and I always kind of rejected artistic things, coming from the belief that I wasn't able to do them. I feel like that comes from us thinking that our creations have to look like what we see on the world and not embracing our own capacities to express and create our own narrative. And so I took a silkscreen workshop, and then I took a linocut workshop, and I was like, what is this magic technique? And so I continued practicing on my own and with friends and going to different sharing and workshops. And then I started working at this print shop that was like run by volunteers, and it just became a way for me to like find a language to talk about things that we are going through and to be like the medium to like put out into the world the things that are going inside me. And that is something that to this day just like makes me fall in love every time I make a print, because every time is different, and what happens between the idea I have in my head when I like put it down into a paper and it becomes a drawing or a sketch, and then from that to flipping it over and carving it and then printing it, there's just this like magic process that just brings me so much joy and that I love to share with others. Right now I'm carving a set of letters to join one of my big prints to make a piece for an exhibition. And one thing I try to do in mostly all of my prints is to kind of like create a background for the chatter, which is the background lines of a print. I am using a really small gouge, which I usually do. I use really small tools because I do like really small lines and details. And so I'm here in this sort of like meditation process of just like going around and creating all this. I carve a lot of letters. because I like to include text in all of my prints, and I include phrases in Spanish, which is my first language, and I incorporate it with botanical elements, because all of my work is centered around the symbolism of plants and like their healing properties, and it allows me to bring like abstract messages into my work. And so you will see a lot of plants and mushrooms and flowers that I have found in my hometown, everywhere I've been. For example, one of my favorite prints is this one, which reads Sin Miedo, which would translate to without fear. And it has lavender and black-eyed Susans, which are both flowers that I find at my grandpa's garden, and that always kind of remind me to like bring myself back to like a safe space and make me feel like I can like go through challenging moments. And that's what a lot of my prints are about, like self-reminders and just like placeholders and ways to celebrate certain moments that I've been going through and that might resonate with others that are going through like similar challenges or processes or transformations, and just like bringing us back to the possibility of knowing that at the end it's gonna be okay, even if I know it seems very challenging, especially during these times, but it will, I guess. So obviously prints have to be carved in reverse, which, funny enough, I am left-handed. And so when I learned how to write when I was a little kid, I would need a mirror to be able to read what I wrote, which is how this actually looks. So this print has a frame of fire lilies, which are a plant that in order to germinate needs some material that comes in ashes. So it basically needs to go through a process of like a fire. Sometimes we go through like a lot of difficult things, and those things make us who we are now. So this print reads, Por tantas cosas hemos pasado, which would translate to many things we've been through. And it is those things that make us who we are today and how we move in the world. And this one is based on a drawing I made, and it's like a love letter to myself, or like a self-reminder to care for myself even when I'm going through like a hard time, because don't we all? And so this one reads, En tiempos de tormenta, recuerda, date tiempo, dormir y descansar, tomar tus medicinas, mantenerte hidratado, tomar el aire, el sol, cámbiate, pide ayuda, está bien. So during times of storm, remember, give yourself time, rest, sleep, take your meds, keep yourself hydrated, ask for help, it's okay, and take the air and the sun and change often. And a lot of people have like reached out to me after releasing this print to be like, this is what I needed, and like that is one of the things that I mostly love about printmaking, that allows me to connect with others, and like reminds me that I'm a human and that so many others transition to similar processes, and that like even though we might not know each other or might not be in the same place, we are together. And I find that to be very motivating and beautiful. This print, which is maybe the longest print I've ever made. So my idea was I'm gonna print it in this really long piece of paper and then do a cut in the middle and then fold it, and it's gonna be a little book. This print also, like many other of my prints, talks about like how it's never gonna be as dark as before the sun rises, which is a phrase my mom would always tell me to kind of be like, it's gonna be okay. And it has like many different images to talk about like moments where we're feeling scared or everything seems kind of endless or we're like trapped in a negative cycle of thought, and what are things that I have found helpful to like move out of that cycle, like listen to myself or like talk to other friends. Also like embracing what's going on in our life in that moment and strengthening our networks, like asking for support, relying on others. And it has this small image of two sunflowers looking at each other, because I read somewhere and I want to believe it's true, even if it's not, I don't want to know, that sunflowers share energy with each other when there's no sun. And I just hold that information like wherever I go, and I find it to be so powerful and such a reminder of like interdependence and interconnection and how important it is to be independent but also rely on others and understand that we couldn't just like capitalist thinking go alone for it and like survive in the wild, and just like how important community is to me.
Come on.
Me and my partner Vanessa Adams have this collaborative project called Birds of Paradise, which is a project that explores long distance migration and our connection to place through our love to plants. And so one of the first projects we made is this beautiful scene called Plantas del Terruño, Plants from Home, that includes these 8 different linocut prints that we collaborated on and are writing both in English and Spanish. And it just like talks about our own experiences both in Mexico City, where I'm from, and in New Orleans, where they are from. Also how those plants sort of have a connection to our own relationship and where we have seen them together. So as you can tell, we are plant lovers. And yeah, when you don't find me here carving, I'm probably like taking care of my garden. I am also part of Just Eat's Artist Cooperative, which is a decentralized group of artists from Mexico, the US, and Canada. I am also part of the Onlinocut Collective, which is an amazing Onlinocut meeting point that started during the pandemic, and we just sort of like got together and nerded out about inks and tools, and we made this beautiful scene. And my print in this, and I'll read what it says here. Those days of being together, between distance and the pandemic, being fed up, the desolation, the hope, those days exist as a dream, as an incentive, as fuel, as a promise and destination to which we will arrive soon. I love the possibility of transforming a print into something else, like an illustration in a book, an image in a zine, a present, a secret note to your crush, or, you know, so many possibilities.